Welcome, everybody, to another Saturday, the Masterclass. It's being hosted at the Fig Tree Retreat, the venue for the Learning Forward Retreat, the first in a series of our teacher capacity building program. We have today with us representatives from Gyan Anand Vidyalay, Hillwoods Academy, both special projects, Sneha and Kunal, and PYDS Learning Academy are participating in the retreat, but both working moms had to go home. We wish them well. I'm sure they'll catch up with the retreat when they have time. It's so much fun to be here. It's such a joy to meet all the happy people at the masterclass. We were talking last time, and we will ask Gurdeep to read the recap. You have a recap on your screen, Gurdeep. Can you just update us from the happyteacher.in?
Uh,
Just read it. I won't share screen. Just give us a little update from the last week if you can make it.
sir, I'll open the screen just a second.
Yeah, I'm doing screen share for the book, and I can help you in case you're not able to get a good broadcast. It's easy for me to do it. So we have, by the way, for everyone, we hosted a session today on understanding the teenage brain, the role of a counselor, and how the parents and teachers can work together to understand the teenage brain. That's an important lesson. It's based on a book, Wanted Backbencher, Last Ranker Teacher. The recording has just been published. Have a look at it. Last time when we were here, we wanted to read from the book and we read the chapter. I have the summary here. I will happily share it. Passive love and self centeredness versus active love and self reliance. The book we are reading is The Courage to Be Happy by Ichiro Kishima and Fumitake Koga. The key takeaways from the last session: love is an active art of loving, not a passive emotion. It's a task for two people to build an inseparable us, a concept distinct from self interest, me, or other interest, you. Self reliance is breaking away from self centeredness. This means shedding the pampered child mindset of using weakness to manipulate others and instead embracing a sense of community. Happiness is subjective, feeling of contribution. This sense of being useful to someone provides a true awareness of one's worth and belonging. Adlerian concepts are interconnected. Love enables self reliance, which in turn fosters a sense of community, the core of a happy life. We talked about the problem, passive love and self centeredness, active love and self reliance. And finally, we came to happiness and community feeling. Happiness is a feeling of contribution. That's what we talked about. And then we said we will see you here this Saturday. And here we are. So let's get on to today's reading. To whom is that love directed? How deep are those depths? Says the youth. The question. When thinking about the relationship of love and self reliance, the task one cannot avoid addressing is that of the parent child relationship. Ah, I get it. Of course, of course. Newborns are incapable of living on their own. It is due to the constant devotion of other people principally their mothers, that they are eventually able to sustain themselves. We are alive here and now because we had the love of our mothers and fathers, and because there was devotion. The person who thinks I was raised without love from anyone must not turn away from this fact. That's true. There was an unsurpassable, beautiful, selfless love. But if we can change the viewpoint, the love here involves a very troublesome matter that cannot be completely settled with the special bond between parent and child. What could it be? No matter how much we reign supreme at the center of the world during childhood, we are dependent on our parents to stay alive. Our parents have power over the life of this me, and if we are abandoned by our parents, we will die. Children are intelligent enough to understand this, and at some point, they realize it is because I am loved by my parents that I can go on living. Youth says undoubtedly. So, this is the meeting point. And it is exactly at that point in time that children choose their own lifestyles. What kind of place is this world in which they live? What kind of people inhabit it? And what about the children themselves? What kind of people are they? They choose such attitudes towards life of their own accord. Do you understand what this fact means? No, no, I don't. When we choose our lifestyle, its objective can only be to find out how can I be loved? We all choose a lifestyle for being loved as a survival strategy that is directly linked to our lives. A lifestyle for being loved, the philosopher replies. Children are excellent observers. They think about the environment in which they have been placed and take measure of the personalities and dispositions of their parents. If they have siblings, they surmise the positional relationships between them. Take stock of their personalities and consider which me will be loved. And on the basis of all these aspects, they choose their lifestyle. For example, at this point, there are children who choose the lifestyle of the good child who obeys his parents. And conversely, there are also those who choose the lifestyle of the bad child who opposes, rejects, and rebels against almost everything. But why? If they turn into the bad child, they won't stand a chance of being loved, will they? This is a point that is frequently misunderstood. Children who cry, get angry, and shout in rebellion are not incapable of controlling their emotions. Actually, they control their emotions rather too well and turn them into action because they have the intuition that unless they go that far, they will never gain their parents' love and attention. And their very lives will be endangered. So that's a survival strategy too. That's right. A lifestyle for being loved is, in all respects, a self centered lifestyle of garnering attention from others, however possible, and searching how one can stand, however possible, at the centers of the world. It all coming together. Finally, briefly put, the various problem behaviors my students engage in are based on their self centeredness. So, that you are saying is that their problem behavior comes out of having a lifestyle for being loved. But that's not all. That how can I be loved, which is rooted to the survival strategies of your childhood, has probably become a criteria of the lifestyle you are adopting now. What did you say? In the truest sense of the word, you still have not achieved self reliance. You are still stuck in a lifestyle of being someone's child. If you want to assist in your students' self reliance and hope to become a true educator, first, you must be self reliant yourself. Youth, for the benefit of those who are not following the book every day, youth is a teacher. So, youth meets the philosopher in season one, and the philosopher explains to him the courage to be disliked. Youth goes back to work and comes back after 3 years to meet the philosopher, very distressed and having followed the standard practice of praise and rebuke in a classroom, rewarding the children and living with the Johannesses as we all have to. So that's where the philosopher takes up the discussion again and tries to bring happiness into the life of the youth. And he's explaining him all these things. And in that process, he has reached to a stage where he's trying to explain him what is true contentment. How can you make such assumptions? And what grounds? I have entered the teaching profession and I live in the social circle. I have chosen my work of my own accord, support myself on my own earnings, and I've never asked my parents for money or anything like that. I already am self reliant. But do you love anyone yet? Ah. Self reliance is not an economic issue or a work issue. It is an attitude towards life, an issue of lifestyle. At some point, the time will come when you resolve to love someone. That will be when you achieve separation from your childhood lifestyle and achieve true self reliance. Because it is through loving others that we at last become adults. We become adults by loving. Yes, love is self reliance. This is important. It's important for you to understand. It's a beautiful definition on how to explain love. Love is self reliance. It is to become an adult. That is why love is difficult. Pause here. So, when you saw a transactional love of a child howling and crying and getting control of life and wanting to get what he wants, then the child got what he wants. And there was love in that because the parents loved the child and they bow down to the child. But the better part is when you grow up, you understand that's perhaps not true love. And we've just explained that love is self reliance. How can one get one's parents' love? So that's the answer now we will find. But I'm self reliant. I'm not reliant on my parents anymore. Wanting to be loved by them never even crosses my mind. Instead of entering the profession my parents have hoped for, I work for a low pay at the university library. And now I'm moving forward on the path of the educator. I've resolved to myself that even if this creates rifts in our parent child relationships, I don't care. And I'm ready to be disliked. To me, at the very least, my choice of profession was a way of breaking away from my childhood lifestyle. You have one sibling, an older brother, am I right? Yes, my brother is taking over the printing plant that our father runs. It seems the following the same path as your family did, not sit right with you. The important thing to you was to do something different from everyone else. If you went into the same line of work as your father and your brother, You would not have be able to garner attention, and you would not be able to realize your own worth. What did you say? But it goes beyond work. From early childhood onward, since your brother was older than you, no matter what you did, he had more power and more experience, and you never had the slightest chance of winning. Now, what could you do about it? According to Adler, in general, the youngest child chooses a path that differs completely from the other members of his family. In other words, if it is a family of scientists, he will become a musician or a merchant. If it is a family of merchants, he might become a poet. He must always be different from the other people. That's just an assumption. This is an assumption that makes a mockery of a person's free will. Philosopher. Yes, Adler himself only spoke of tendencies with regard to sibling birth order. However, it is useful to know what sort of tendencies are brought about by the environment one is placed in. Then, what about my brother? What sort of tendencies does he have? For the firstborn child and also for the only child, the greatest privilege may be that one had a time in which one monopolized one's parents' love. Later born children do not have the experience of monopolizing their parents. They always have a rival who is ahead of them. In my case, they are placed in competitive relationships. The firstborn child who was monopolized the parents' love on the birth of a brother or a sister will be forced to come down from the position. The firstborn child who does not cope with this setback satisfactorily will hope to someday regain the seat of power. Adler refers to this child as being a worshipper of the past, who creates a lifestyle that is conservative and pessimistic with regard to the future. Hey, my brother certainly does have such tendencies. It is a lifestyle in which one has a perception of the importance of strength and authority, enjoys wielding one's power, and places excessive value on the rule of law. It is a true conservative lifestyle. Yet, when a brother or a sister is born, the firstborn child who has already received education with regard to cooperation and assistance is likely to develop into an excellent leader. In imitation of the child rearing done by the parents, such a firstborn finds joy in taking care of siblings and learns the meaning of contribution. Then, what about the second child? In my case, I'm the second child, but also the last born. What sort of tendencies does the second child have? Philosopher. Adler says that a typical second child is instantly recognizable. The second child always has a pace setter running ahead of him. And at the heart of the second child, there lies the feeling of, I want to catch up. They want to catch up with the elder brother or sister. To catch up, they have to hurry. They are constantly pushing themselves and planning how to catch up with, overtake, and even triumph over their elder brother or sister. Unlike the conservative firstborn child who holds the rule of law in high regard, the second child wishes to overturn even the natural law of birth order. So, second children aim for revolution rather than trying to be at peace with the existing powers that be in the firstborn children do. They place worth on overthrowing the powers that be. You are saying, I've got the tendencies of a rash revolutionary philosopher. Well, I don't know about that because this classification is purely an aid to human understanding. It does not actually determine anything. You. Lastly, then what about the only child? Since there are no rivals above or below, the only child gets to always stay in the seat of power. It is true that the only child has no siblings who would become rivals, but in this situation, it is the parents who become the rivals. The child wants so much to have his mother's love all to himself that he ends up seeing his father as a rival. He is in an environment that is conducive to the development of the so called mother complex. Oh, that's rather Freudian idea, isn't it? But the issue that Adler regarded as more problematic here is the situation of psychological anxiety, in which the solitary child is placed. Psychological anxiety? First of all, the child is exposed to the anxiety of always having to look around him in the worry that a younger brother or sister will be born and that his position will be threatened. More than anything else, he lives in fear of birth of a new prince or a new princess. And beyond that, he needs to watch out for the cowardice of his parents. The cowardice of his parents? That's right. There are couples who, on having one child, tell themselves that economically speaking, and in terms of the amount of work that would require, there's no way we can afford to raise any more children and refrain from any more, regardless of their actual economic situations. According to Adler, many such couples are cowardly in their lives and pessimistic. Moreover, anxiety pervades the atmosphere in their homes, and they place an excessive amount of pressure on their only children and make them suffer. As having more than one child was the norm in Adler's time, he laid more emphasis on this point. Youth. So parents can't just be devoted to loving their children, right? Yes, limitless love so often transforms into a tool for controlling the child. All parents must uphold the clear objective of self reliance and go about building equal relationships with their children. And then, regardless of what sort of people their parents are, the children can't help but choose a lifestyle for being loved. That's right. The fact that, in spite of your parents' opposition, you work to choose as a librarian, and now choosing the path of an educator is not enough on its own to say that you become self reliant. Perhaps it is that by choosing a different path, you're actually trying to win the sibling rivalry, sorry, and keeping hold of your parents' attention. And perhaps by turning something on that path different, you're hoping to be recognized for your worth as a human being. Perhaps you are attempting to overthrow the existing powers to be and accede to the throne. And if that's true, that then, what then? You are caught up in the need for approval. You live thinking about how you can be loved for other people. How can you be recognized by other people? Even the path of the educator, which it would seem you choose yourself, may be life of the me that others wish for, a life that has the objective of being recognized by others. This path, this life I have chosen as an educator. As long as you hold on to a childhood lifestyle, you will not be able to wipe away that possibility. Hey, what do you know? Anyway, I'm just sitting here listening quietly while you go ahead and fabricate stuff about people's family relationship and even try to negate me as an educator. To be sure, one cannot realize self reliance by gaining employment. Generally speaking, we live controlled by our parents' love. We choose our lifestyle at a time when we can only crave to be loved by our parents. And further, we grow older and become adults while reinforcing that lifestyle of being loved. To get out from under the control of the love one is given, the only thing one can do is to have one's own love, loving, not wanting to be loved or waiting for destiny, but loving someone of one's own accord. That is the only way. Next chapter. People are afraid of loving. So the question youth asks. So even though you usually reduce everything to courage, this time you're trying to settle it all as being about love. Philosopher. Love and courage are closely interconnected. You do not yet know love. You are afraid of love and you are hesitant about love. Consequently, you are stuck in your childhood lifestyle. You do not have enough courage to dive into love. I'm afraid of love. As from here means Eric Fromm, author, says, while one is consciously afraid of not being loved, the real, though usually unconscious fear is that of loving. And then he continues to stating, to love means to commit oneself without guarantee, to give oneself completely. Love is an act of faith, and whoever is of little faith is also of little love. For example, the moment one has the slightest feeling that the other is showing goodwill towards one becomes interested in the other person and then starts to like them. This kind of thing often happens, doesn't it? Yes, it does. It would be no exaggeration to say that most love affairs happen that way. This is a condition in which one has secured some guarantee of being loved, even if is all one's own misunderstanding. One feels some kind of collateral there. The person probably likes me, or they probably won't reject my goodwill. And it is on the basis of that collateral that we can begin to love more deeply. On the other hand, the loving that Fromm speaks of does not provide any such collateral. One loves regardless of what the other person thinks of one. One grows oneself into love. You must not seek collateral in love, right? Why people seek collateral in love, do you know? They don't want to get hurt or feel miserable. I guess that's why. No, rather it is that they think I will definitely get hurt, or they half convince themselves I'm definitely going to feel miserable. What? You do not love yourself yet. You are not able to respect yourself or have confidence in you. That is why you end up assuming that in the love relationship, you will definitely get hurt or definitely feel miserable because you think that there couldn't be anyone who could love someone like you. But that's just the truth, isn't it? I'm a person without any outside traits. That is why I cannot build a love relationship with anyone. I cannot embark on love without collateral. This is a typical inferiority complex way of thinking because one is using one's feelings of inferiority as an excuse for not resolving one's task. But one separates the task. Loving is a task, but how will the other person respond to your love? That is the other person's task and not something you can control. What you can do is separate the tasks and just love first from yourself. That is all. Ah, stop all for a moment and sort things out. It's true that I've not been able to love myself. I have deep feelings of inferiority, which have developed into an inferiority complex. I have not been able to separate the tasks that need to be separated, objectively assessing the current discussion that's about the sum of it. So, what can I do to dispel my feelings of inferiority? There's only one conclusion. That's to meet a person who will accept the love this me. Otherwise, there's no way I can love myself or anything like that. So, in other words, your position is if you will love me, I will love you. Youth. Well, I guess so, if you put it briefly. So, after all, you are only seeing, will this person love me? You seem to be looking at the other person, but you are only seeing yourself. If you're waiting around with such an attitude, who is going to love you? If there's anyone who would respond to such a self centered need, it would be one's parents. Because one's parents' love, especially one mother's love, is unconditional. You think you can treat me like a child? Listen, the golden age is over, and the world is not your mother. You must take a straight look at the childhood lifestyle you have been carrying out in secret and make a new start. Don't wait for someone to love you to appear. That's totally going around in circles. There is no destined one. You must not stand still. Let us take another step forward. At the outset today, in our discussion concerning education, I spoke of two things that cannot be forced. Yes, respect and love. Right. No matter what sort of dictator I might be, I cannot force people to respect me. In a relationship of respect, the only way is for the respect to come from me first. That is the only thing I can do, regardless of what sort of attitude the other person might take in response. That is what I was talking about earlier. Then you are still saying that it's the same with love. Yes, love cannot be forced either. You still haven't answered my main question, however. Look, I do have the feeling of wanting to love someone. In all sincerity, I do. Aside from my fear of love, I have the feeling that I'm thirsting for love. Then why don't I launch into love? It's because I haven't been to meet that crucial person until love. I haven't been able to meet my destined partner whom I wish for love doesn't come true. The meeting is the most difficult problem of all with regard to love. So true love starts with a destined meeting, but of course it does, because your partner is someone you devote your life to and who changes the subject of life. You cannot pretend you can offer up everything about yourself to just anyone. Philosopher. Then what sort of person would you call a destined one? That is to say, how would you sense that it is destiny? I don't know. I guess I'll know when the time comes. It's unknown territory to me. I see. Then let's start by answering with Adler's basic position on this. Whether in love or in life in general, Adler does not accept the existence of a destined one of any kind. There is no destined one for us. There is not. Wait, that is not a statement I can just let pass. Why do many people seek a destined one in love? Why does why do we entertain romantic illusions of our marriage partners? The reason Adler concludes is to eliminate all the candidates. To eliminate all the candidates? People who lament that they can't meet anyone like you do are actually meeting someone or other on a daily basis. Barring highly unusual circumstances, there is no other who has not met someone in the past year. Have you met many people yourself, haven't you? Well, if you're going to include just being in the same place as them, however, to grow that modest meeting into some kind of relationship requires a certain courage to call out to people and send letters and such. Yes, it sure does. It requires not just a certain courage, but the greatest courage of all. So, what does a person do when they lose the courage to embark on a relationship? They cling to fantasies of a destined one, just like you are now. even though there's often is a person to love right in front of them. They come up with all sorts of reasons to reject each one. And they lower their eyes and think, there's got to be a more ideal, more perfect, destined partner. They try not to enter into deep relationships and they unilaterally eliminate any and all candidates. No way. By bringing forward excessive and unrealizably ideals in this way, they avoid anything that may lead to interactions with real living people. Please see that this is the truth of the person who laments that they can't meet anyone. Youth, I am running away from relationships, philosopher replies. And you're living within the realm of possibilities. You think of happiness as something that will come from somewhere else. Happiness hasn't come my way yet. But if I can just meet the person of my destiny, everything will be fine. Damn it. Ah, what damn insight you have. I'm sure that it is not something that feels good to hear. But if you consider the goal of seeking a destined one, the discussion will always come to this point as a matter of course. Love is a discipline. Then let's hear it. If there is no destined one, on account of what do we decide to get married? Marriage is the making of a choice of only one person in the whole wide world, isn't it? Surely you are not saying it's just a matter of choosing according to such things as appearance, finances, and social position, are you? Marriage is not a matter of choosing a target, it's a matter of choosing one's way of living. Choosing a way of living, then the target can be anyone. Ultimately, yes. Don't mess around. Who would recognize such a statement? Retract that. Retract it right away. I recognize that this is the view that meets with the great deal of opposition, but we are able to love anyone. I'm not joking. If that's the case, could you just go out and find some woman walking by without the slightest of idea who she is or where she is from and love that woman and marry her? If I made the decision to do that, the decision, of course, there are many people who felt destiny on meeting someone and decided to get married in accordance to with that intuition. But that is not previously established destiny. It is only that one decided to believe it was destiny. As Eric Fromm remarked, loving someone is not simply an intense emotion. It is a decision, it is a judgment, it is a promise. It doesn't matter how the meeting happens. If one makes the firm decision to build real love from that point and one confronts the task accomplished by two people, love is possible with any partner. Don't you realize you are spitting on your own marriage right now? You are saying, my wife wasn't the person of my destiny and anyone could have been my partner. Would you declare that in front of your family? If you would, then you are over the top nihilist. This word has come before also, so I will repeat it here. This as some of us knew. Nihilism is the rejection of all religious and moral principles, often in the belief that life is meaningless. So it's the ultimate in pessimism. It is not nihilism, it is realism. Adlerian psychology negates all determination and rejects fatalism. There is no destined one or anything of the sort for us, and one must not wait for such a person to appear. Nothing will change by having waited. I do not intend to yield on this principle. However, on looking back on the many years one has journeyed together with one's partner, one may feel the presence of a destined something there. Destiny in that case is not premeditated thing, nor did something that has rained upon one by chance. It should be something that has been built up by the effort of two people. What do you mean? I'm sure You understand already. Destiny is something you create with your own two hands. We must not become destiny's servants. We must be the masters of our destinies. Rather than seeking a destined person, we build relationship of a kind that might be referred to as destined. But concretely speaking, what are you saying one should do? One dances without thinking about a future one could never comprehend or about a destiny that one could never exist. One simply engages in a dance of the now with the partner before one. After recommended dancing to many people, including children, as the pastime of two human beings taking part in cooperative work, love and marriage are indeed akin to the dance of two people made together. Without ever thinking about where one would like to go, they take each other by the hand and, looking straight at the happiness of the day that is today, at just the moment called now, they keep on dancing around and round. People will speak of the tracks of the long dance you two have created as destiny. Love and marriage are the dance that two people make together. You are standing now at the edge of the dance floor of life and just watching the dancing people. You are assuming that there couldn't be anyone who would dance with someone like me, while in your heart you're waiting impatiently for your destined one to reach their hand out to you. You are doing everything you can to endure and to protect yourself so that you do not feel any more miserable than you do already, and so that you do not begin to dislike yourself. There is one thing that would do. Take the hand of the person beside you and try to do the dance that you can possibly do. In that moment, your destiny will start from there. Thank you, everyone. It's been a wonderful Saturday evening sitting here in the Fig Tree Cottage. You can have a good glance of the garden outside. It's absolutely beautiful. And we hope to do more reads from here. We hope to have you experience the joy of reading. Let me just give you a little trip of the place. So this is the Fig Tree Cottage, and that's the garden where you come and dance. You can come read with us. It's a lovely space, nice place to be in. And look, who's in there? Hello. That's the Learning Forward retreat. Thank you. Over to anyone. You can say what you want. Shalini in.
Uh, Sir, there are four, five things which I would like to share. Is one is this maybe this youth doesn't get into any kind of relationship because that fear of rejection dominates his personality.
Perfect. That's a good point.
Second thing, when the philosopher says that the talks about the cowardice of the parents, it is very subjective. I feel because it's not about being not being financially sound. Maybe it is the other way. Their perspective is to give the best to their child.
Absolutely.
So there are three, four things which I felt are very subjective. Another thing is about the sibling thing. So there are families wherein the elder sibling takes a lot of care of the younger one. So there is no competition between the two. It is how the environment or the way the child has been brought up by their parents, the conditioning that has been done by their parents. So I feel at some places the philosopher is being very subjective.
But he's a philosopher.
Yeah.
And that's why philosophers are considered crazy. I hope Adler doesn't listen to me or the authors don't listen to this conversation. So, the important part is that you have to see it as a 80-20 principle. So don't interpret it that it is a generalization. It's an observation. And he's right in a way. I'm the elder sibling sitting in front of you. I didn't have the privilege which my younger sibling has. And this happens in most families. You are right that sometimes it's the elder one who gets the privilege and makes a new road. But in most cases, the elder one ends up being the support of the family. It's not today. This we are talking of history. So times have changed now today. It doesn't have to be elder sibling or younger sibling. It's anyone who life has not destined, but whose life has enabled. Because in today's day, resource matters more than anything else. Earlier on, we lived in an age where community was the stronger bit. Today, resources are the stronger bit. So community became your staff. Staff means your stick for walking or your support or your scaffold. But today, resources you only scaffold because what happens now in this age of consumption, we think we have to provide, provide, and provide. Now, in this age, what happens is that you find solace in consumption. But in the previous era, we found solace in companionship. So now, when you're talking about siblings and you're talking of love, do keep these two things in mind.
And one last thing, sir, when the philosopher says that the youngest one, the youngest child, tries to go away from the family profession, but it is not out of revolt, but at times it is because a child's passion lies somewhere else.
Yeah, I agree with you. In fact, there is more openness also at that stage in the second child's case. And the second child has, in all possible cases, got the pole star or the guiding star from his elder sibling also. So he will be stronger, the second child, he or she will always be stronger. And I find that in my own family. I mean, I find my second child is far more stronger than my first child. But the first child cares for me perhaps as much as my second child. So it's not in every family that way. So I brought this up because I find that the second child is very, very strong. So why the second child is strong? Because first child parents were novices. They themselves had not figured out what happened, how this child came. But second time they were better prepared. And that's what gives the advantage to the second child. Because the parents are stronger. So if parents are stronger, the child will be stronger. Any question from the Learning Forward retreat? So Shalini, that's the people at the retreat. This is the first one we are hosting, and this Learning Forward retreat focuses only on teachers. Yeah,
So,
go ahead.
can I ask something?
Sure.
So it's a little personal. So, what is love according to you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Love is not an emotion first. Second, love is not a transaction. So when you remove emotion and when you remove transaction, which means give and take is gone. And emotion is what you express and what is visible. Now think of love. So if you remove emotion and if you remove transaction, that's where the real feeling of love will come. Where without speaking, you see the other person will understand you. I'll give you a simple example of a pet. I'm bringing an animal into the discussion simply because I find that sometimes the pet, my dog in particular, is far more intelligent than I am. And I mentioned this in a story the other day. I will give you the example of true love. I lost my mother last year. My dog was an outdoor dog. Never came into the garden. Never came home because so much space outside. It's a Dalmatian. I would jump across benches and jump across trees and very smart and agile. But when my mother passed away, she came in, she sniffed at my mother, gave her a last bye-bye. And after that, she started living inside the house in the evenings. She felt perhaps I was alone. That's love. Does that help?
One more thing I would add here, sir. Love is more of giving rather than expecting something in return.
Yes, absolutely. There's no give. There's no return. There's no transaction, Shalini, which I said. The unfortunate part is we think love is transactional. Leila, Majnu, we are sold stories like that. Romeo, Juliet. You shed blood for me. You killed yourself. You did wah for me. We make love so transactional. Love is not transactional. The beautiful plant growing outside, you love it. I love the trees outside. That's love. I love the plants outside. That's love. Love is not, I'm telling you, I love you. That's not love. Of course, Shalini cares for me. I care for her. But it's different from me saying that I love Shalini and Shalini loves me and we become passionate about it. No, no, that's not that. That's respect. Please understand the difference between respect and love. That's an important part. The minute you understand the business of respect and love, you will find your true love. You had a long evening. Anyone else?
Sir, if I can only take a minute to extend this evening
Yeah,
by a
yeah.
few minutes.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure. This is a special session, so go ahead.
So this is my first session attending this particular meet, sir. So
Thank you,
firstly,
Vibhor. Please introduce yourself.
good evening, everybody. Good evening, ma'am. My name is Vibhor. I'm from Hillwood Academy, Haridwar, and I thoroughly enjoyed being here. Thank you for the session, sir. Wonderful read. Firstly, like the matter that you read was absolutely. I was actually surprised to see how dynamic the content was that you read, from psychology to discussing parent like in family relationships to understanding love, courage, the dynamism that involves in relationships, emotional relationship understanding, which I think a lot of people it's not a part of curriculum per se in India, but something that I think children should also be educated on these matters, how to deal with relationships and relationship building exercises. So my question to you, because the subject was on courage, and I hope I'll be able to express myself because my thoughts are a little abstract here. So, what exactly is courage? Because my confusion stems from the fact that I feel acceptance is courage. It takes a lot of courage to accept something, right? So, I feel therefore acceptance is courage, and acceptance comes from humility. So, therefore, humility must be courage. But then I also feel that when I deny, when I don't accept something, when I deny what is in front of me, even that takes courage to not accept my, suppose I fail in something and I don't accept it, I deny, even that takes courage. So, what exactly is courage? And it is not
Very
something
simple.
I've never
Yeah, yeah,
encountered.
very simple. I got your message. So, you were not with us. Our first volume was The Courage to be Disliked. The second volume is Courage to be Happy. So, to understand courage, you must have certain confidence in yourself, where even if a few people don't dislike you, you should be happy because that's for a reason and that's for your good. And similarly, when you are looking for courage to be happy, if you can understand that you have the courage to be disliked, you will find a new path. So, you know what I suggest? To understand what is courage, you replay perhaps the first or second episode of the last book, Courage to be Disliked. So, this masterclass started on Valentine's Day, I think, 14th February, Shalini? Yeah, I think it started somewhere in February this year. So, go to the YouTube channel, My Good School, play the preface of the first book, and I think you will find an answer to what you're asking for.
It's
I would encourage you to do that than to give you an abstract answer here because answers are all abstract. They are instantaneous. In this session in the afternoon, we talked about impulse.
yes,
Before I close, I want you to reflect on both the sessions together, and there is a lot in common. And that is where you will find the courage to do what you are doing. Once you find the courage to do what you're doing, that is the meaning of courage. Thank you.
thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Vishaka, thank you so much. Vishaka is my young student from PYDS. Vishaka, anything you want to say? Your good words matter a lot to us. She's in grade 6. She's one of our scholars in the masterclass. Okay, over to you, Vishaka, and then Pushpinder will get his word also. We have gone beyond 10 minutes. Doesn't matter. Today is a special session. Vishaka, over to you. Pushpinder, after
Good
Vishaka.
evening, sir.
Good evening, Vishaka. How are you?
Sir, fine. Sir,
So,
I
what
want to
have
add,
you? Yeah, please.
sir, like, love isn't it a feeling you wait for, So it's a decisions you make. You choose to contribute, and give without needing it back. That choice removes fear and makes love real, not transactional. So this is my reflection.
Vibhor, look at that answer from a person in pre-teens. What a brilliant answer. What a
Thank you,
brilliant answer.
thank you, Vishaka, for that answer.
What a brilliant answer. Yeah, Pushpendra, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. My reflection on love, what according to me, what love is. I believe love is a feeling of appreciation of someone's existence in your life. How Sandeep sir have says that I love the trees, that he appreciates the existence of trees in his life. And another about the relation between siblings. I have my eldest sister. We share a great bond because we are on the same age group. We share a lot. What we cannot share with parents, we share. Because if sometimes she needs counseling, I give her. If sometimes I need counseling, she gives me. That's a great bond we share. And it's a little bit competitive, but it is like it is.
See, it's important that we have competition and collaboration. So both the C's are important in life because they strengthen us. Don't ever think competition and collaboration as the other ends. You need competition and collaboration. But the degree of competition should not overcross the degree of collaboration. That's the way I would answer it. And today we are realizing all over the world collaboration matter. Learning is a collaborative process, and that's why today's classrooms are far more richer. I'm sure Shalini has experience. Classrooms today are far more richer, and we are back to the concept of horizontal learning, which the whole Adler story is about. So, on that note, I expect you to read up. We are soon winding up the courage to be happy and hope you'll find your happiness. If you haven't, then come in and join us at the next retreat whenever we plan it. That's one. Second, once we close the courage to be happy, I just may take a Saturday off and then come back to you by my next season, which is called Human Edge in the Age of AI. So that's the next level of understanding we want to go to. We will be reading from a book by Nitin Seth, Human Edge in the Age of AI. Nitin Seth will join us in our sessions, and we are hoping we will create a large part of content for the literacy project, which is what we are building up. The literacy project comprises of financial literacy, food literacy, and emerging AI and technologies, emerging learning methodologies. I'm quite sure, like my friend Kunal sometimes says, we are ahead of time. No, we're never ahead of time. It's our time. On that note, that is the courage to be happy. When you say it's our time, it's my time. Have a great evening. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye, Vishaka. Bye.